All right, we are live again. We had some technical difficulties, but we are live. We are coming to you every Monday through Friday at noon. And we've had a couple of technical issues in the first week or so, but we're ironing things out and we'll get right back to business here. Today's show is about why it's so difficult to find a job and why now is the best time to build your own business. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that want to escape the 9 to 5 and they have dreams or fantasies or just wants of being an entrepreneur. And again, as I said in yesterday's show, I'm not exactly sure if people want to be entrepreneurs, but I am sure that they want time freedom and they want freedom financially. And there's this sense when you're an entrepreneur and you can essentially create your own or produce your own paycheck and you're not dependent on someone else for it. It's an incredible feeling. And because we all grow up sort of programmed, unless we have that entrepreneurial bug from when we're young, but we all sort of grow up thinking, or at least we did before this social media age, that getting a job and building a career somewhere was probably the safest path that one could take to reach some level of financial security and freedom. And sometimes you can. Some people have great careers and move up the chains. And then there are others that feel quite stuck in their jobs and they don't have any passion there. And so I'm if that's you, I'm speaking directly to you. I was you about 5 years ago, and I hated working for someone else, no matter what it was. And every time I did so, I felt this like burning desire to be off on my own. And so with that comes great responsibility and maybe a little bit more stress in the beginning, but then once you get it figured out, you iron it out. But there's a kid that I used to coach. I was a high school basketball coach for 10 years. And one of the kids is still in touch with me. I mean, a lot of them are, but this kid in particular, he has a finance degree from the University of Utah. And yet he's been looking for jobs for nearly 9 months now. He cannot find a job. And I know he's applying to many, many jobs because he's conversing with me back and forth about applications and letters and recommendations and all these things that I'm trying to help him with. But my point is that it seems to be a really bleak time right now in the job market. And I get, if anybody reads the Morning Brew, it's an excellent newsletter and I like it. It's a little left leaning. But I like it because it just delivers, the facts and stories that are bipartisan. It's just really straightforward and it's not too much opinion. It's more just what's going on in the world. And I got it today. And one thing caught my eye, and I'll read it to you here. It says that in the latest sign of a stagnant job market, white collar workers are flipping the traditional recruited model by hiring recruiters to help them land their next jobs. And they're calling it reverse recruiting. And I've yet to hire a recruiter for that purpose, maybe to get advice on my resume, but I never hired a recruiter to find me a job. So but I don't think that's a new concept, this reverse headhunting. But anyway, it says here that a conventional recruiter told the Wall Street Journal that he's somewhat uneasy about people handling reverse recruiters by themselves. And so anyway, the article continues to talk about this job market that's looking very bleak. And it says that the current frigid atmosphere in U.S. unemployment is known as a quote unquote low hire, low fire, which is why you keep hearing seemingly conflicting truths. The unemployment rate isn't that bad, but it's also incredibly difficult to find a job. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because it's a great segue into today's monologue. And I do know from quite a few people that they're having a lot of trouble finding jobs. And I'm particularly interested in, is AI coming in and causing some of this to happen? Or is it possible that perhaps people are recruiting more and hiring more because they need people that know how to use AI? I think that there's two parts to that. One of my best friends, he works at the National Notary Society, and he has become almost irreplaceable at his job because he's so proficient in building AI agents. And if you don't know what that means, he simply builds a bot that can do a bunch of tasks in an automated fashion that he would have to do manually. But he's so good at programming these bots to do it automatically that he's become even more valuable to the company he was working for. So I really believe that AI isn't so much going to replace a lot of jobs as much as it will augment them, and it will make people more efficient at their jobs if they leverage it. So my point is that there's no reason to be scared of it. I think that if you welcome it, you embrace it, and you use it to become more efficient and optimize whatever processes you're doing every day or tasks, then I think that AI could be a huge help. The data shows, this is federal data, job searches now last an average of 6 months. Holy cow, that's an entire half of a year that people are now, on average, searching for a job. And there were more job seekers than job openings last summer for the first time since 2021. Obviously, that has a little bit to do with the pandemic. And it says here that the economy added the fewest jobs since 2003 last year, outside of recession. So tomorrow's January jobs report is expected to revise the tally even lower and show a continued stall in job growth. And it continues to say why it's slowed down. It doesn't really know. It says maybe it's because of the tariffs. Maybe it's because of other political factors that are coming into play. But regardless, it's a vicious cycle. And less than half of the workers think that they could find a new job in 3 months, according to a recent federal poll. So now, instead of finding a job, maybe, just maybe, a better plan moving forward to secure financial freedom and freedom over your schedule time, perhaps, is starting your own business. So I want to start today's show with a reality check. We have 3 people on. Go ahead and leave me comments. If you have comments in the chat, please, I encourage you to engage. I'm here to interact with you and have an ongoing dialogue. But I'll talk about this reality check. The job market as we knew it is not coming back. And according to the Wall Street Journal report, hiring in the U.S. has slowed drastically. Companies aren't expanding payrolls the way that they used to, not because there's no need for work, but because they can't plan for the future. Uncertainty over, like I mentioned, politics, business costs, and yes, the rise of AI means fewer job openings and longer, tougher searches for anyone that's not currently employed. But here's the twist. For people who've been contemplating entrepreneurship, yearning for control over their time, their income, and their destiny, this is your moment. Why? Well, the labor market is sending a message. The old model of trading hours for pay, relying on employers, and hoping for raises or promotions isn't working like it used to. See, in today's climate, where jobs are fewer, quitting risks more, and AI is reshaping hiring. The alternative is not just an option, it's a smarter long-term strategy. So let's talk about this. Hiring rates in the US have dropped significantly. There's fewer jobs posted and slower replacement hiring. Well, maybe it's time to go out and build something on your own. And if you do that, do you have a good plan? Do you know what you want to build and why you want to build it? Do you actually want to become really good at being an entrepreneur and controlling your own destiny? Or do you just want the promises that it can give you and afford you? Well, if you're not chasing entrepreneurship and you're just chasing the freedoms, then you should consider a very simple service-oriented business. The next thing is that workers aren't quitting as freely, to call it job hugging, which paradoxically slows the creation of new opportunities. And that makes sense, right? When people aren't quitting as freely because it's so hard to get another job, they're hugging their jobs more. And it slows down the creation of new opportunities because new opportunities come in droves when people are leaving and quitting. And opens up the market for new opportunities. Fewer new workers entering the market due to immigration restrictions and aging population. So we have the boomers that are aging, They're going on to retirement age. A lot of them are getting replaced. And we have immigration restrictions. All right. All right. Any comments here? Does anybody have any comments? Does anybody want to come up on stage and talk to me about this? I'm going to move on to the impact of AI on the hiring market. But before I do, show me in the notes. I haven't had any comments today. So at least can you, oh, there you are. I see. Okay. Hi, John. I'm late joining. I had a walkthrough. Thank you, Lindsay. It's good to see you. Growth Hub is here. Connected. Ideal Expert. Thank you for coming on. Connected. All right, great. Now I know you guys can hear me and you're here. So I'll go ahead and continue on the AI impact on the hiring market. AI is increasingly part of screening, application filters, and automized recruiting, for lack of a better way to put it. And for entry-level roles especially, AI tools replace routine tasks many juniors used to do or used to learn on the job. Some studies suggest that AI skills can boost hireability, like I was just alluding to, but also reshape what employers look for. You know, my sister was getting hit with this same ad. I don't know, you guys have probably seen this ad or a variation of it if you're on any social media sites. But it's an advertisement for an AI training, and it doesn't say specifically what the training would then allow you to do with it or equip you to do. But it just says that if you're not learning AI and you don't understand how some of these more mainstream AI apps operate and you are afraid of it instead of learning it, then employers actually like devalue your resume. They're looking for people that understand AI and that can actually come to their business or their company with skill set that they already have. And so my sister came to me and said, you know, I should probably learn AI. And she's in the psychiatry or psychology business. She does evaluations on people that have mental problems and different things. But long story short, she's now thinking that she has to learn AI. I don't know what she would learn it for or how it would pertain to what she does. But my point being is that most people are now understanding that they have to tackle it instead of being afraid of it. And there are structural shifts, not just short-term slumps. So this slowdown isn't temporary. Demographic and economic forces mean hiring will be subdued for years. For years. Think about that. Ghost job, it says ghost job postings and vague listings waste job seekers' time. That's true. Has anybody applied for a job in the last year or two? Anybody done that? I can tell you from experience, when I put a job ad out, and this is just for hiring cleaners for my business, I get an overwhelming response. And I mean, I could post the job ad for professional cleaners is the title of the ad, and I'm talking within minutes, I can have tons of applications flowing in. I feel like they're seeing that it pays $20 an hour plus gas and it's remote and boom, people are just applying. They're not even looking at what the job function is or what the role entails. They just see the money and they're applying. And I know that because as I filter through some of the resumes, I'm looking at the people and I have no idea why they would apply for a job cleaning because they have no relevant experience. And even their objective at the top of their resume mentions nothing about wanting to be in the cleaning business. But my point is that because of all of this happening in the world, all these global economic forces, it's easier than ever to build a service business. Easier than ever. And not only do you have so much of a talent pool to draw from, because people need jobs. I just went over the data. You can hire so many people so fast and really scale your team or your company. But also going to find a job. And if you do find it, who knows how much it'll pay? But with the straight service business, you could probably in 6 months make the same or equal to what you could make at a job for most people. I know that sounds crazy, But the only reason why I'm saying that is because it's quick to pay you back. If you don't have any inventory, you don't have any shipping or warehousing, or you don't have everybody on salary, they're only out producing. You only pay people when they're out making you money. When they're idle, you're not spending any money. It's not like having a retail store and having to pay someone to sit at the front desk and welcome people in, or on a Tuesday morning at the mall. If you go to your local mall, it's dead right now. It's dead. But there are people in the stores that work there that are just being paid to stand around. They're told to organize the shelves, make the place look better, tidy up. But I've walked in the mall and I can tell you there are many people just standing there. And on top of that, some of them have security guards that are just standing there too. The traditional career ladder has holes from the top to the bottom. So instead of trying to fill one of those holes, maybe it's time to start your own business. If jobs are stuck and hiring slow, creating your own work becomes a more secure strategy. Think about that. If you're unemployed, it becomes a no-brainer because finding a job is so difficult. But if you are employed, then it might seem like a more secure strategy, because if you want out of your job and you're employed, you might have an easier time starting a business than you would getting a job somewhere else. And this is just the data. I'm not giving you my opinion. I'm just giving you the facts. Your own business does give you control over your income, your schedule, and your growth. But not in the beginning, it doesn't. Not in the beginning, I'll be honest. Most of the time, in the first 3 to 6 months, you'll be working more than you would at your normal job. I can just tell you right now. But if you do things correctly, you'll get there much faster. And this is why I offer my education platform, is because I know that there are people out there that want to skip over the 18 months of trial and error and guessing and testing that I had to go through, and all of the pain and sweat and tears that went into getting the business up and profitable. But there are shortcuts to it. But even if you have the knowledge and you understand what the obstacles are, it doesn't mean that you don't have to work hard. You still have to work hard. There's no such thing as a get rich quick. Everybody knows that. All right. Any questions? Anybody? I see. Hi, John. Gensis 251. Hey, Idle Expert. Do you have any questions? Anybody have any questions? Does anyone want to come up on the stage? I have some questions for you. Let me start with this, and you guys tell me if you want to come up. Have you ever felt like you shouldn't be struggling to find a job and wondered if you're doing something wrong? Has anybody ever felt that way? Let me see in the chat. There's got to be people that have felt that way. I felt that way before. Anybody ever felt like you shouldn't be struggling to find a job and then you were wondering if you were doing something wrong? My next question. Does it feel like AI or automation has made applying for jobs harder instead of easier? Anybody out there applying for jobs? Any feedback? Because I think it could go either way. Anybody in the chat? Does it feel like it's made it harder or easier? And I'm curious, Ideal Expert, where are you tuning in from? I know Growth Hub and Lindsay Reese. Lindsay was a guest of the show last week. I'm curious where you're all tuning in from. I'd love to see it in the chat if you have a moment. And to go a little deeper, what part of the job search process has been the most frustrating to you? No responses, bot screening, or just no opportunities? Paul with game. I'd be down to join. Okay, great. I'd be down to show some support. I would love it, Paul. If you don't mind, add me on Discord. Yeah, so right now, my mod has, you have to DM him on Instagram. If you could put it up on the screen, it's at John Margalit on Instagram. Go ahead and send me a DM there, and we'll reply with a code to come up on stage. We can't show the code because spammers come on and attack us. So if you could just send me a DM on Instagram, you will get that code very quickly. That's the fastest way to get you up here. But Paul with game, I would love to have you up and we can discuss some of these things. As Paul is getting situated and coming up, I'll go back to what I was asking here. What part of the job search process, I should say, has been the most frustrating? I'm curious. That you don't get any responses, that there's bots just screening your resume, or is it just that there's no opportunities? I really am curious. If anybody has any comments on that, please. I would love to know that. All right. Let's see here. Reading some comments. Okay. And if you think about building your own business, what scares you the most? Lack of customers, fear of failure, or is it something else? I really want to know that. If you think about building your own business, what scares you the most? Lack of customers, fear of failure, or is it something else? Can you guys tell me in the chat? I really would love to know. I'd love to get some feedback on this because it would help tremendously on which direction I could create content. Because if these fears are actually rational, real fears, we can address them and we can get over them. But if they're irrational, then I'm just going to call you out on it and I'll tell you, and then you could move past it much faster. All right. To me, it's customers. Okay. Growth Hub, it's customers. Okay. And that's a great comment that he made there. I want to talk about that. The one thing, if anybody isn't moving along as fast as other people are in my program, it's always for the same reason. They're not listening to me when I tell them to only focus on customers. They get upset, or I mean obsessed with finding cleaners. They get obsessed with the legality of it. Can I have a W-2 or a 1099? And they're stressing about all these things. And they don't even have one customer yet. One customer. There's one thing that separates a prospective customer and a customer. Do you know what that one thing is? They pay you. They pay you for your goods or services. And it could be $1. But if they pay you $1, they're no longer a prospect or a lead. They're your customer. So, with all of the success of the business depending on cash coming in, why wouldn't everybody be focused on the source of the cash? And that's the customers. I can't say it enough. The only reason why I succeeded in the house cleaning business with no experience at all is because all I did was obsess about customer acquisition. I tried everything. I tried it hard and I tried it fast. And I spent as much money as my budget would allow me to spend so I could learn more faster. And what I discovered in a very short period of time, maybe within 1 year, is that Google is king. And that's why starting a simple service business makes customer acquisition so much easier. If there are people actively looking for whatever you're selling and they're typing it into Google every day by the thousands, well, then guess what? You just have to show up where they're searching, meaning in the Google search results. And there's multiple ways of doing that. You can get there organically without paying. It's not as hard as some of you might think it is. And of course, you could pay for it. Paying for it can be expensive. But if you have a recurring service and you could retain clients, see, most people look at the model of transactionally. So how much does it cost for me to acquire a customer, and how much did that customer pay me? But the real way to look at this is, what's the customer lifetime value, or the CLTV? That's what I'm interested in knowing. And in my business, in the cleaning business, I can break even or even lose a little bit of money on the first transaction. because I know that the average person or customer stays with me for 6 to 8 cleanings. And once that first job is over, the cost to acquire a customer becomes what we call a sunk cost, meaning it's no longer there. It's only one time. And then guess what happens after you can retain somebody? Your profit margin goes way up and you can actually start making money. So if you are thinking about customers and you're concerned about that, all you simply have to do is this. I'm going to tell you right now. In this modern day and age on the internet, and Growth Hub, pay attention. This is for you. This is for everybody out there that wants to start a business but says to themselves, how the heck am I going to get any customers? Let me tell you what world we're in right now for customer acquisition. You can do it one of two ways. No matter what you do, you have got to hold up a sign with your offer or what it is that you do. And instead of doing it on the sidewalk or on a billboard, people are doing it online. It's the same damn thing. You have got to hold up a sign, either physically on the street corner when people are driving by, on a billboard, or you just do it digitally. And in order to get up a lot of signs and attract this attention to whatever service or product that you're selling, you've got to create content. You've got to create content about it. And when you think about content creation to attract customers, the very basic thing that you can do that can easily clue you in on what content to create, think about their 5 to 10 most frequent asked questions. And then create a video or a blog post that directly address that. And include your unique experiences into that so that it's different. And if you create really good content about that subject matter or that problem, then people on the internet will start to find you as the solution. That's one way. That's the best way. And some people say it's free. It's not free. You don't actually have to pay for that, but there are indirect expenses and you have to spend time. It takes time. It takes time. For me, I'm making YouTube videos. Are they free? Sure, but I have to pay my editor. There's a guy that I pay to post them on all channels. There's no time for all that. So there's always a cost associated with it. But when you create a piece of content that addresses your customers' pain points, needs, and wants, if you do it on the internet, guess what happens? It lives there forever. So if you're making videos or writing blog posts or doing whatever you're doing that you're comfortable with, the way you like to communicate with your audience, it can live for a very long time and continue to give you leads and traffic and attention towards your digital sign, whatever it is you're holding up, whether you're an accountant or you're a chiropractor or you sell widgets. It doesn't matter. You can create content. And then the other way is paying for an advertisement. The only difference for that is that you're ensuring that you're getting eyeballs on your sign, your theoretical sign. That's all that is. When you pay, it's guaranteed that whatever audience you're targeting or you've chosen will see your sign or your message or your offer. The way that I attacked it, I did both. So I started creating tons and tons of content to attract my ideal customers. And I learned and became very proficient on how to advertise on Google so that when people were searching for a house cleaner near them or best house cleaning service in Las Vegas, I show up. And guess what? It could take a year to start getting traction on that. But once you do, I'll show on my screen, I had it was like 300 phone calls last month for free, just for showing up in the Google ads. And like 300 something phone calls, inbound phone calls to my company. So if I spent $0 on ads, I was getting 300 people to call me from just an organic Google search. from the local maps. That's it. And the only people that succeed at this are the ones that understand it's a long game. It's a long game. But if you increase your output and your quality, you will be on the rankings. You will move up. You will become visible. And it'll have a dramatic effect on lowering your cost to acquire a customer. So Growth Hub, you have got to decide what type of content you're going to create, who exactly you're creating it for. Make sure your message is congruent on all channels and platforms. And then you have to commit to doing a lot of it for a long time. I forget where I heard this, but somebody told me, I think it was a comedian, the fastest way to get rich is to work hard for a very long time. That's the fastest way. That's the fastest way. All right. So if you're not, I'm glad that connected with you, Growth Hub, because if you're not deeply set on a content strategy that you implement and distribute on a regular basis, then you won't be bringing in enough customers. You won't get enough attention. And you can just pay to be shown on Google or on Yelp or on Thumbtack. You can pay for that. But at the end of the day, your cost to acquire a customer will never get as low as you want it until you figure out how to make some come in at no direct cost. And here's something I want everyone to know. Don't hire someone to create the content for you. There are a lot of services out there. There are a lot of freelancers that claim that they can do it for you. You know what I've realized in trying out a bunch of these people? None of them understand your business the way you do. And you can give them notes and you can write something up, or you could shoot a quick video on your phone as an explanation, and they can then polish it up and distribute it for you. But you need to attack everything that's on your clients' or customers' minds. Everything they're thinking about, everything they fear, everything they want, everything they need, you should be creating content about. That's why I'm here. I have an education platform. I have a program now, Rags to Riches University. You can see it right here. And I teach people how to start their own cleaning business. My next product is called Walks to Wealth. And it's going to teach people how to make six-figure income from walking and boarding dogs. I'm not kidding. You can see on YouTube, I made a whole video about it. It's incredible how much money one can make from a business of walking and boarding dogs. And I took the expert. He's only 22 years old, and the guy made over $100,000 last year. He's got $150,000 of cash in his bank account. He's got a 401k. The guy never went to college. He is a smart, bright young guy. I'll give him that. But he's no different or special than any one of you that are watching now. And somehow, with no parents, by the way, his dad died when he was young. His mom has trouble with addiction. Virtually no parenting. And this kid figured out how to make six figures, save up over $150,000 in his bank account. He has a brand new SUV. He should have bought a used one. And he's got a beautiful 3-bedroom condo in one of the nicest suburbs of Las Vegas. 22 years old, no college degree. He has been instrumental and the mastermind behind Walks to Wealth. And when I release that, a lot of people are going to be drawn to it because they're actually passionate about pets and dogs and animals in general. So if you love animals and you're interested in something like this, I would just love to see if anybody even thinks it's a good idea. I'd love to see your comments in the chat. But not to get sidetracked. I have a vision of building a platform that will give people multiple options of service-based businesses that they can learn how to do. Step-by-step guides, content, everything they need to understand how to get customers consistently. Because you know, Growth Hub, If you don't have a system in place for customer acquisition, it becomes sporadic. And when you have sporadic customer acquisition, it's very hard to build dependable income. And that's what we need. We need dependable income. We need certainty. When you start out on your journey of entrepreneurship, it's completely uncertain. So the goal is to get it predictable and certain as fast as possible. And that means installing a system. That means going to people that have already been there before and done it and downloading everything that you can from them so that you can bypass all the obstacles, all the heartache, all the tears, all the things that will get in your way and challenge you and keep things uncertain. If traditional jobs are drying up, what does freedom mean to you personally? Time with family, financial security, the pursuit of your passions. What does it mean? I genuinely want to know. If you could share with me in the chat, what does freedom actually mean to you? And Paul with game was going to come up, but I don't know what happened. Paul, are you still with us? The mod was looking for you. But if traditional jobs are drying up, what does freedom mean to you personally? If you could put it in the chat, I would appreciate it. I'll comment on it and see what's going on. All right. So now we're moving to what I would call the everything. I know, John, I see you. I'm moving towards what I would call the closing monologue, and then I would like to invite you up. John, if you're at work, don't worry about it. But if you want to participate in the show, please shoot me a DM on Instagram at johnmargalit.com. And if you're interested in any of the resources that I'm talking about today, you can go to johnmargalit.com and you can get some of these things. I created a free guide that tells you why most businesses fail before they ever make money. And I spent a lot of time putting it together in a very short sort of report for you in a PDF, because I thought that you would appreciate understanding why it happens, because then you have this like knowledge inside you that most people don't have that end up in that situation. So if I could give you that ahead of time and save you from a potential disaster, then I've done that, and it's completely free. All right. So if you want a link to it, just comment in the chat and I will make sure to send you a link, or DM me on Instagram and I will send it to you. But in closing for my thoughts today, if jobs are drying up, if they're slowing down, and AI is reshaping the career landscape, what are you going to build instead of chase? The job market might be frozen today, but the freedom to create your own path has never been more open. That's the message the economy is sending you. Don't wait for a job that might not come true. Start creating opportunities that can't be automated, that can't be outsourced. I'm talking about your own. Now's the time. Any questions or comments? If not, I'll wrap up today. We've been on live here for about 40 minutes. We got a slow start because we had some technical issues. Again, we're ironing all that stuff out. We're getting better every time we come on. Better lighting, better audio, better everything. But for now, this is our format and this is what we have. So we're going close to 40 minutes. I would love to have you up here. If you have any comments or questions about why you can't find a job today and why it's the best time to build your own business, come on up. Growth Hub, we are together. Thank you. Thank you. I not only want to come here to inspire you, but I want to give you the plan. I want to give you the blueprint. I've already figured it out. That's why I can come on noon every day, Monday through Friday, and I can be here talking with you. Why? Because I don't depend on anybody for a paycheck. I'm not saying that it's bad if you do. I'm just saying I didn't want to. And if you're here with me now, chances are you don't want to either. And the more you show up here and listen to this, the more comfortable and certain you will be on what you're going to do next and how you're going to do it. I'll make sure of that. And if you need additional resources, I'm working on them and I will provide them for free. I just need to know from you guys what it is that you want me to create and what will make things better and easier for you. What type of business? Creator Studio, trading, Forex, real estate. We don't have thousands of dollars to start. Yep. And that's why, that's a great point in the comments. That's why I started a house cleaning business, because I didn't have a ton of money to start a company either. And you could realistically start for about $1,000 or less. And I'm talking about legal formation for an LLC. I'm talking about a business license. You know, I mean, these are all nominal costs, but you could probably get it up and running for $1,000, and you could easily do 6 figures your first year. Show me another business model where you can jump right into for $1,000 with no barriers to entry, no equipment needed, really no experience needed. If you have experience running a business, it'll serve you, of course. Experience doing anything will help. But this is house cleaning. This is not rocket science. I'm talking about taking a rag and wiping down the countertops. I'm talking about taking some Lysol toilet bowl cleaner, putting it in there, scrubbing the toilet. But I'm not talking about you doing it. I'm going to show you, if you want, how to build a team of professional cleaners that will go out and make your customers happy. They'll handle all the fulfillment. They bring all their own supplies. You charge the customer about 2.5 to 3 times. I like 3 better of what the cleaners charge you. So if your cost is $60, you're going to be charging $188. You pay the cleaner $60, you have $128 left over. That's your money. That's your gross profit. Creator Studio 9514. Does that answer your question? Is that clear? This is being my first business. What would you recommend, an S Corp or C? So I can't give legal advice because I'm not a lawyer, but I can tell you what I would do, and then you can decide if that's good for you. I would create an LLC. If I had a business partner, I would create an S Corp. And this is only because of the way that taxes flow. Thank you, Genesis. I appreciate that. Only way that taxes flow. So it really depends. I would ask ChatGPT, or I would just go on LegalZoom and have them handle it. LegalZoom is a terrific resource. It's fast. They get you an EIN so you can start payroll. They do everything for you. It was a couple $100. I have no affiliation with LegalZoom, but I do like the service. I've been using it a long time, and they formed my LLC for me. All right. And all that's doing essentially is allowing you to write off your expenses in a way that you can't if you're a solopreneur or a, what's it called? When you're by yourself. I don't know why I'm forgetting the term. But if you form an LLC, it keeps your business assets separate from your personal assets, so nobody can come attack you and get them if there's a problem. And it allows you to write off a ton of your expenses in a different way than if you were a sole proprietor. That's the phrase I was looking for. Sole proprietor. Sole proprietor. All right. I live in Jordan, in the Middle East. Wow. That's crazy. I live in Jordan. I mean, not crazy, but I'm inspired by the reach that I have here on the internet. What platform are you on? Creator Studio 9514. What platform are you engaging with me on? Are you on LinkedIn? Are you on Instagram? Are you on what platform are you on? And let me answer your question. He says YouTube. Okay, great. YouTube. I live in Jordan, the Middle East. The cleaning business doesn't work here. Anything else? I'm currently product searching. Can you explain to me, why doesn't the cleaning business work? I mean, I'm just purely curious. And then while he's giving me some feedback, let me answer his question. Cleaning is just the vehicle. You can swap cleaning out for lawn mowing, walking dogs. I mean, it just doesn't matter. The only reason why I pick cleaning is because it's so freaking easy. There are so many people that know how to clean. But you could do a bunch of things, any service business. And the best way to figure that out is to ask yourself, what are the most common problems that people in my community have? That's all you have to do. I'll tell you a short story. This is crazy, but this is sort of the reasoning that's taught in the best schools in the country, especially at schools like MIT or Caltech. These engineering schools, the top engineering schools in the country, they teach this sort of framework and this methodology. And here's what they say. They say that if you don't know what you want to build a product or a service, but you're not sure what you want to build, you start by what problems need to be solved. So what happened is that, and this is how most businesses actually form nowadays. There was a group of guys, labor costs. All right, I'll talk about that in a second. There was a group of guys, and they were working at PayPal. PayPal at the time, this is before they sold the company. It was Elon Musk and the guy from Reid Hoffman from LinkedIn, and there was a PayPal mafia. There were a few other guys, really, really brilliant guys, and they would hoard all the talent. They would try to hire as many brainiacs and engineers as they could because they knew that would be the thing that would propel them and give them advantage over the competition and get them to that valuation that they wanted to get. And these three guys, they were thinking about what they wanted to do and what they wanted to build because they had the entrepreneurial bug. And so they started talking and they were discussing what problems they were seeing in their community. And they knew that there were certain industries that were recurring, like eating, cleaning, lawn care. I mean, there's a lot of them out there. Oil changes. I mean, these are recurring services. It's something that you could provide or a product that's disposable, or like cleaning. You clean a house and in a couple of weeks it gets dirty again. So they were focused on problems in their community that were recurring. Those are two great ways to start. And what ended up happening is that they started to interview restaurant owners. They interviewed 50 restaurant owners in their community. And when they came to the interview, they were doing discovery on the problems that these restaurants had, because they were thinking it might lead them to a solution that they could then monetize as a business. And here's what happened. They saw a common problem with all 50 businesses. They didn't have an economically viable way to deliver their food. They couldn't hire a driver because they couldn't afford that salary for somebody that maybe sometimes would be out delivering and maybe not. And the biggest thing is the insurance. When you have delivery drivers, your insurance cost goes through the roof. So these restaurants had great demand, had a ton of deliveries to make, but they couldn't figure out how to make it viable. And these three kids talking about 20 years old, 21 years old, they came together, they compared notes. And that's how DoorDash was born. Because they were out looking for problems to solve. And they found one common problem in a recurring market that solved an issue that they were all having. They put it on an app and they put it on one of these, and now they're billionaires. That's a real story. Same thing for YouTube. And actually, the three guys that started YouTube, Javed Karim and the other two, they were working at PayPal. The DoorDash guys one was at Facebook. They were working at different places, but they were all engineers and came from this sort of background. All right, so now let's turn to why he says he can't do this where he lives in Jordan. Labor costs are high here. If you want to pay someone to clean it for you, it would cost per day about $60. And due to as many people as I can, due to economical reasons nowadays, people will not spend like the US. I somewhat agree with this. I'm sourcing a product right now. Do you think I should just try to sell this one product to as many people as I can or bring more products to the market? Well, that's an easy answer. Focus on the one thing and prove that you can sell it and that you could sell it for a profit. Now, remember, don't calculate your profit based on what it costs you to make and what you could sell it for. You've got to factor in if there's any shipping charges for you shipping it to the customer, if there's any packaging or warehousing or duties or whatever it is, your time, you got to factor all those things in. I'm selling on Instagram. Okay. Yeah, I mean, my thought about this is that first of all, congratulations and for having the courage to do this. And second of all, I would take the same sort of methodology and I would say, if your product solves a big problem in the market and potentially it's a disposable thing, like a really good product to sell people would be something like toothbrush heads for electric toothbrushes. You use it, it shows you what the color is, and in weeks you have to put a new one on, or a month. Try to think like that. Try to think something that you could sell over and over again, not a one-time transaction. Think about that. Because then you could bear a higher cost to get it to market and to get it to your customers because the lifetime value of the customer will be higher. All right, good. I see you say, okay, great. That's probably the best advice I could give you. I've sold products before. I've sold services. Obviously, my favorite is services because making products and selling products has its own set of challenges that I think are more difficult to deal with than service businesses. But make no mistake about it. Every business you start comes with its set of headaches. Some you can get rid of faster, some you can't. You have to just pick one and you have to go for it. But choose one product, prove it, and then see if you could bring in ancillary products, meaning that there are products that maybe complement what you're selling or could go with it. A really good way to discover that is to go to Amazon, type in the name of the product that you're selling, and then scroll down to the bottom where it says people also bought, and that'll clue you in onto what you should bring on next. They did all the research for you. The data's there. You could just go online and you could find it easily. Another tactic that is really good for this stuff is going on Google and typing in the name of the product and hit spacebar and leave it. It will autocomplete. It will show you, I think the top 5 or 10, I think top 5 searches that people make with that keyword or keyword phrase. And that'll also indicate to you where you should go next. Now, if you're going to sell online and you're going to sell on Instagram or you're going to have your own Shopify site or whatever you're going to do, the only thing you should be thinking about is how do I get customers consistently? And then the second thing you should be thinking about is how can I get customers that I can afford to get? Sure, everybody could put up a billboard on, the 101 or 405 freeway. You'll have 1 million people see it in no time, but it's probably too expensive. Anybody can buy a Super Bowl ad, but very few people can afford to. So you have to find a way. Are you going to create content? Are you going to advertise? Are you going to have a hybrid of both? But you've got to find a way to get your digital sign, your theoretical sign in front of eyeballs. So you need the attention. You need them to focus in on what you're offering them. And then you need a mechanism to convert them. It's kind of like if you were trying to catch mice. You would need to first lure them to the trap with some cheese or whatever they use. And then once the mouse or the prospect gets there, you've got to find a way to close the mouse trap on them so that you can have them as your customer. And the mouse trap could be, one part or two parts. If you have a really well-designed website with great messaging and a website that's focused on conversion optimization, meaning that It's addressing everything that might be an obstacle to them buying. It's identifying everything that can cause friction in the buying process, and it's removing it. If you can do that, your website can sort of prime people to pre-sell. If you go to my website, happyhomehelpers.com, you'll see what I mean. Everything is very methodical. Every word, every picture is on purpose. It's intended by design to be there in that sequence, the way that you're seeing it. Because I know that makes people pick up the phone and call or fill out one of those forms on my website to give me their information. It's by design. But if you think you're just going to create content on social media, somebody's here, I think it's spam, then have a plan for it. Know what you're creating, why you're creating, and what cadence you're going to create it at. What your promise is to people that will come and consume your content. Bill Gates said it a long time ago, content is king. It really is. That's why I'm here doing this every day. I want to create awareness for the services and the help that I can give to people. And hopefully, Creator Studio, what's your name in Jordan? Can you put your name in the chat? That way I know what to call you. Hopefully you've gotten some value out of this. That's the whole point of the show. Anybody else have any questions? Those were really good questions. Coming in all the way from Jordan, live on YouTube. And Ahmed, nice to meet you, Ahmed. Tell me, can you see me clearly, or is there lagging going on in the video? I see it on my screen, but it looks like some parts are clear and some parts get a little laggy. I need to know so I can fix the issue. All right, we're coming up on an hour here. I don't have any guests for you guys today. Nobody wants to come up, but I will end by saying thank you for everyone for coming out. And if you do want to escape the 9-to-5, or you have thoughts of building your own business and you're not employed at the moment, shoot me a DM on Instagram if you have any questions. You can come up on the show. You can be a guest of the show. Sometimes it's laggy, but it's fine. Thank you. Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome, Ahmed. You can be a guest of the show. Ahmed, if you get closer to whatever you're launching and you want to come on the show and you want to talk about it and you have a bunch of questions that are ready to go, you're welcome to do so. I like to have the camera on, but you could also come on just audio too if you don't want to be on camera. I know that a lot of people don't, and I respect that. For anyone else that has any questions, again, johnmargalit.com. I have free resources. You can come get the report that I put together. It's a very short 8-page report. It's got pictures on it. So, I mean, we're talking about a 10, 15-minute read. It'll tell you exactly why most businesses fail before they ever make any money. And once you read this and you get this sort of reframe from the information that I'm giving you, you'll gain a lot more clarity. And when you have clarity, you make good decisions. That's it for today. Thank you.